Good evening, everybody. My name is Fiona Stevenson. I am an independent consultant with Arbon International and a district manager. So tonight I would like to talk to you a little bit about my journey. This is quite an interesting one, and how I got to district manager. Give you a few of my top tips and things that I have learnt along the way. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about talking to the cold market, which is something that I think is quite important. You know, when you've spoken to everybody, or you feel like you've spoken to everybody in your friends and family network or your work network, then you feel like you have to branch out a little bit and start making more networks for yourself, new networks. And that can sometimes be quite scary. So I'm going to talk to you about that. So first of all, my journey. So I started Arbon on the 15th of September 23rd of September 2014. And at the time, I was a single mom. So before I heard about Arbon, I was quite happy. I was a stay-at-home mum. My partner went out and worked, and he earned the household income. And I was a stay-at-home mom, and I did a lot of volunteer work as a breastfeeding counsellor and midwife assistant, and I loved that. And that was kind of going to be our plan. And once my children got to the age where they were both at school, I would then go back to uni, train to be a midwife, and blah, blah, blah. And that was my life plan. That was it, done. But then I suddenly became a single parent unexpectedly. And I didn't have a plan B. So when that happened, I was kind of a bit stuck. So I was a single parent on benefits, which I wasn't happy with. And then this business was presented to me by a very good friend of mine, and she didn't ask me to start my business with Arbon. She just told me really excitedly, "Oh, started this new business." And I said, "Oh, great, what are you doing?" She's like, "Well, I buy stuff online, like products like lipstick and stuff." And I was like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, then I get paid for it." And I was like, "Right, well, how?" So I don't know, but it's amazing. Okay. And I didn't understand it because she couldn't explain it to me. So obviously I thought, oh, well, good luck with that one, you know. A few weeks later, she said to me again, you know, "I want to explain my business to you because it's going really well." And I said, "Okay." So she started to explain to me a little bit about the network marketing thing. And I understood the gist of network marketing. I kind of understood a little bit what she was doing. I said, "Okay, so what are the products then?" And she's like, "Oh, really good stuff." And I was like, "Right, what good stuff?" And she was like, "Well, they haven't got any rubbish in them. They're great." Right, okay. And she still didn't really know what she was doing to explain it to me properly. By the way, this is Regional Vice President Danny Wells that I'm talking about. So needless to say, I didn't jump on board straight away. Anyway, a few weeks down the line, she got much better at explaining it, and a few of our best friends jumped on board, one of which is Christine Goddard. And Christine Goddard, if you don't know her, is the sensible one. She's the budget queen. She would not do anything unless she knew 100% that it was going to be good. So I thought, well, if the sensible one's doing it, then I might better jump on board. So I launched it. I jumped on board. I started my business with Arbon International. Best decision of my life. It was amazing. So that was it. So that was in September. Between September and December, I grew my team by 2. I had 2 independent consultants working with me, and I was loving it. And then everything kind of changed because I moved an hour and a half away, and moving house and everything that comes along with that was quite a big thing for me. And Arbon just kind of took a back seat, and I didn't really do anything with it for quite a few months. And then so that was from the December, and then around sort of March, April time this year, I kind of thought, well, everyone else is doing really, really well with Arbon, and I'm not, so I need to do something with it. So I started, you know, dipping in and out, doing a little bit with Arbon, not a lot, and I was treating it like a hobby. And the thing is with Arbon, if you treat it like a hobby, then it will cost you money, and you won't get anything from it. You need to treat it like a business because it is a business. So I didn't get anything from it. I got a few people slightly interested. I think I had one more independent consultant that took a leap of faith with me, who's now doing amazing. And that was kind of about it, really. And then I just gave myself a kick up the bum. I went to a few events, a few DAs, one of which Scott Campbell was presenting a DA, and he just really resonated with me. He was just amazing. And one of my big top tips that I'll jump in with now is to go to as many events as you can, because the atmosphere keeps you excited, it keeps your momentum going, it keeps your enthusiasm up there, it gives you the energy to push on with this business. So definitely go to as many DAs or events as possible. So that gave me a kick up the bum and a few other things. And I started working my business how I was supposed to work my business. And through that, I went into district manager qualification in July, which was June, which was brilliant. And that was a buzz, and that kept me going. And then kind of I got a bit lazy again. And then I went to Danny's car presentation, and that just sparked something with me as well again. And I qualified as a district manager, and this month I am just buzzing. But I'm not actively talking to anybody at the moment. This is what I said to my partner yesterday. I'm not actively speaking to anyone at the moment. So about Arbon. So what I'm doing now is using my cold market skills, because since I've moved here, I haven't really advertised myself as a business owner with Arbon. I haven't really pushed myself out there in Milton Keynes. My family have seen the amazing potential of this business and started their businesses with Arbon. So I have 2 members of my family here, and a few other people. But I really need to tap into the cold market because I don't have a network here in Milton Keynes, and I would like to concentrate on growing my team in Milton Keynes. So I need to build networks, and I need to use the cold market to do that. So a few weeks ago, Andy Roberts came onto Danny Wells. I think it was just was it a region call? So Danny Wells region call, and he did some training on speaking to the cold market and a few other things. And that call was just incredible. And it wasn't recorded, so don't go looking for it. But it was really, really, really good. He spoke from the heart, about his story and where he's come from and where he is now and how he's dealt with changes. And it was just incredible. And after he did that call, he sent Danny a script about talking to the cold market. And I read that script, and then I read it again, and then I read it again, and then I read it again, and I can't stop reading it. And the reason I can't stop reading it is because every time I read it, I want to go out and speak to the first person that I see in the street. I want to go out there and just spread the word of Arbon. I feel confident to go out and speak to people, and not just speak to people about Arbon, but start speaking to people about their everyday life and start building relationships with people. He talks in depth about it, and I'm going to speak to you about it now. I've got his script in front of me, which I have in front of me most days now. I kind of make it like my morning thing. I don't know if Andy Roberts is going to appreciate that. I've become a little mini stalker. I always check his profile on Facebook in case he's got any more tips. Okay, so I'm going to just read from the script because I can't put it any better than he has. Okay, so he says in here, today I want to talk about a topic that is the most crucial one in building a business within Arbon, and that is recruiting clients, preferred clients, but more importantly, new consultants. And then he goes on to talk about a scenario in which you put all your energy and all your effort into talking to one person to see if they would be interested in becoming a client, a preferred client, or an independent consultant. And when you put all your time, effort, and energy into that one person, if they say, actually, thank you very much, but no, this business isn't for me, that really affects you. It affects your confidence, and it affects your happiness. You feel deflated, and it's kind of it might even give you a loss of belief in the business. And it is hard hitting. Now, it's even worse. He goes on to say it's even worse if you put all this time, effort, and energy into explaining the business model to someone, and they go, yeah, all right, I'll do it. I'll become an independent consultant. And they do, and then they just kind of disappear. it's almost as if they've decided to sign up as an independent consultant just to shut you up, really, and they're not actually interested in it. And then it's even more deflating. You feel like you've grown your team, you've shown someone the wonder that is Arbon, and then it's just gone. And that it's hard hitting. And when you've just got that one person or even two people, then you kind of think, oh God, right, well, all that effort for nothing. Where do I go from here? And you feel a bit lost. Okay, so he says, so how do we counteract these feelings? Quite simply, having a continually busy pipeline of contacts is absolutely critical for your survival and future growth within Arbon. Okay, so he says as well here, so look at the two scenarios. So the one scenario being this, the person that you're speaking to decides to not start their business with Arbon and not become a client or preferred client. The second scenario, they do become an independent consultant, but then they just disappear off the radar. So look at the two scenarios, and he says, would you have the same emotional result if you had other potential prospects on your radar? So would you feel so deflated and rubbish, basically, if you had 10, 15, 20 other people ready to explain the business model to? And the answer probably is no. Okay, so this is where it gets really exciting. So he says, he says, I'm going to share with you today my strategy for success and sanity. And he calls it the now, 1 and 6 approach. Okay, so if you're taking notes, get a piece of paper and write 3 columns. The first one needs to say now, the second one needs to say 1, and the third one needs to say 6 or 6 plus. Okay, so the now is what is actually live. So who we are sharing the opportunity and the products with on a one-to-one basis, or taking to DAs or follow-ups, or these one-to-ones are people that we're revisiting who have already been exposed to the business or the products. So these are people that are present now that are hearing about Arbon. And he says, I would suggest that whatever time we allocate to our money-making activities, we split into 3 timescales. So you've got your 3 columns. Now the now column should occupy approximately 75% of your active money-making time activities. So 75% of your time goes in that first column. Now these are the people that we are expecting to become a client or a consultant, and your focus on them should be allocated accordingly. So a good number to have in your now column is between 5 and 10 potential business builders, and 10 to 20 potential clients and preferred clients. Now, so imagine how you would feel now if you had all of these people in mind in your now column and one of them said no. So compared to spending a week of all your time, effort and energy into this one person, you've now got a column of 20, 30 people, and that one person says no to the business. Now, how do you feel compared to when you had just that one gold ship and they said no? I guarantee, and he said, this is what he says here, I guarantee you will strip the emotion out of the result by having this backup. And it will also make you approach people with less desperation. And this bit is really important. He says, if you bank on one person and you speak to them with a certain amount of desperation, and they pick up on that. However, if they are not the be all and end all, and you approach them in a much more casual, relaxed fashion, then they are more at ease. So put yourself in their shoes. If somebody came to you and almost begged you, you would be far less likely to join their team and start your business compared to someone who was happy, relaxed, and confident. I think that's really important, because you are a product of the product. You are the face of this business. This business doesn't use advertising, so you are the advertisement. So if you're happy and relaxed and casual, then it's a good advert for this business. Okay, so he says here, however, it gets better, much better, by having a future pipeline of potential prospects. And this bit is even more exciting. So now we move on to your second column. So this is the 1 month people. Now these are people that are on your radar, and you envisage talking to them about the products or the business within the next 2 to 4 weeks. So you're thinking about approaching them really soon to arrange either a one-to-one or a date to discuss anything with the business or the products, but you're not rushing into it, you're not pressuring them. These are people that you have been relationship building with for the past few days, weeks, months, however long. And he says that he'll explain a bit about that later on, which he does, and it's really good. Okay, so he says with the second column, no contact regarding Arbon has yet been made, but they are familiar with you, familiar with the fact that you do Arbon, and they have given you an angle in which you can approach them. So as a potential client, they may be embarking on a new fitness regime, and they may be talking about losing weight. They may have just had a baby. They may be going on holiday. They may have developed a skin problem. Anything that we can help them with. And these are all great reasons to have an initial discussion about sampling our products. And the relationship has already been cemented over the past few weeks or months, or however long you've been speaking to them. So as a potential business builder, they may have had a baby, lost their job, left university, been dumped by a partner. Now, all perfect reasons to, again, arrange to meet with them to discuss how they are, how your business could potentially land in their lap at the perfect time for them. So they should be fairly comfortable in listening to you because you've done the groundwork in building a relationship with them. You've established common ground, and more importantly, they will trust you significantly more than someone who has approached them out of the blue with a generic Facebook message. You've actually spoke to them, you've built up a nice rapport with them. Okay, so coming back to the time, he said in this sector you should be allocating 20% of your time. So remember, 75% of your active money-making activity time should be in column 1 with the now people. So 20% of your time should be in this second column, and a good number to have. A good number of people to have in this column is 50. Now remember, you're not speaking to these people every single day. You're just building relationships with them and thinking about speaking to them about Arbon, about the business, about the products in the next few weeks. Okay, the final column is the 6 months plus column. Now this is where you can really have fun and be creative, because this is where you initiate your contact with somebody. Okay, so there is no pressure and no expectations whatsoever. These are purely people that you think may potentially be interested in any aspect of Arbon at some point in the future. That's it. So you've probably never spoken to them before about anything, regardless, like, never mind Arbon. And these are people that you are purely relationship building with. So just in case something comes of it in the future, you are speaking to them and building a relationship with them, and just getting to know them. So these are people that you would like to speak to about Arbon, but you are going to wait until the timing is just right. So your numbers here should be well over 100 people, but you are only allocating about 5% of your time, and that's it. So 5% goes at the top of that column. Now, the beauty of the system is that it's completely flexible. So prospects can move from any column to any other column at any other time. So he gives a couple of examples here, which I'll read out to you. So he says, as an example, a 1-month prospect posts on Facebook that they are looking for a new challenge. Obviously, they move to the now column, as that has given you the perfect opportunity to arrange to meet them to discuss the business. Or a 6-month contact who is liking all your positive posts on Facebook or Instagram becomes a 1-month contact, and it's time to speed up the relationship with them, and relationship building with them before making an approach. A now contact who says no may have their own reasons for saying no, and as such should be transferred to your 1-month or 6-month list and come back to them at another time. Okay, so this is where having a visual chart comes in handy, because if you've got them columns that I told you to write down, you can swap people. If you've got it on a whiteboard, it'd be perfect. If you transfer this to a whiteboard, you can just rub off the name off one column and transfer it to the other. Andy speaks here as well about having it written down on a list or an iPad so that you can constantly take it with you, so when you're out and about. Okay, so then he says, he brings you back to his initial question. So now imagine someone saying no to you. And all you need to do is look at your chart, your 3 columns, and tell me how different you would feel now if somebody said no to you when you've got an abundance of potential people to speak to about Arbon. I mean, we're talking about 150, 170 people all written down on this whiteboard potentially, and one person says no. So one person out of 150 or even 100 or even a 50, if you've only got 50 people between your 3 columns, one person saying no to this business, isn't a huge dent now. It's not a massive knock to your confidence. It's not a huge deflation for you. So he says, now, all this may sound great in principle, but in reality, how do we build our list of contacts? Which I'm sure all of you have been wondering about during this call. Okay, so he gives his top tips. Number 1, he says, I firmly believe that whilst Facebook can be our biggest enemy, it is also our biggest ally. Without any shadow of a doubt, used correctly, it can connect you with almost unlimited contacts. So make Facebook your best friend. Post positively with people, wish them happy birthday, like things constantly, and take the time to make a nice comment on someone's page or someone's photo or anything. You know, connect with new people, friends of friends. People on Facebook love to have lots and lots of friends. So list about Vegas, about business meetings, about parties, about celebrations, anything positive. Create a profile that people want to replicate for themselves. So how many times do you look on someone's post on Facebook of them golfing, on holidays, always seem to be lapping at the sun while you're at work? And be that person for the people. Only post things that attract people to want the same things as you. And again, that comes back to being the advert for Arbon. You know, if you're moaning on Facebook, people aren't going to be attracted to you, and you need people to be attracted to you because you're the advert for your own business. So Andy goes on to say, I ensure that on a daily basis, I like people's statuses and photos. I comment on things that they have posted, and I'm complimentary about things that have interested me. To be honest, they may not interest me. They may even do my head in, but at some stage, I may want to discuss Arbon, and the work that I have done prior has stood me in good stead for that. Every time I go out, a Facebook friend will talk to me about what I've been doing. People notice and remember what you post, so be aware. If you constantly moan or whinge on social media, then what kind of people are you going to attract? Who is going to be inspired by you, and who will want to follow you? So that's really sound advice. I think Danny Wells does that perfectly. You know, she's constantly happy-go-lucky, and it is attractive. You're drawn to that happiness, drawn to that. And I know it's easy for her to do. She just come off a cruise, but that will be us next year. You know, and things like doing your own DA event, or even going to a DA event, seeing an Arbon white Mercedes. You know, make it a big deal, make it this big exciting thing. And your happy things don't even necessarily have to be about Arbon. They don't have to say Arbon. Just you being able to spend a day snuggling at home on the sofa with your kids, you know, that's great. It doesn't have to say, because I do Arbon, you know, it's just your general lifestyle. Okay, so another little tip within Facebook, he just finishes on this. When I have made a new contact, I check through their friends list to see who is posting positive statuses. And people that look like they might enjoy the high life and high quality products, and generally look like they take care of themselves, and will also be an influential player within their circle of friends. Nothing may come of this, but there are worse things that could happen. So if you're seeing someone within a friends list like that, then it's potential. Okay, so here's second tip: take time to engage with strangers. So smile at people, be extremely bubbly, and make people feel comfortable around you. For example, this is his example. If it's a waiter or a waitress, you will make their night by chatting to them, complimenting them, and tipping them with sincerity. If you revisit the restaurant, make sure you ask for them personally and build the relationship from there. If it's a petrol station, ask the attendant how they are and how their day is going. People notice the little differences like this, and if repeated, you easily build rapport. Every single time you meet these people, the conversation expands. And then he goes on to tell a little story. At my local farm shop, I have gradually increased the conversation with an Eastern European lady who works there. Over the past 6 months, it started from a simple hello to last week discussing which country she originated from. I explained why I asked, and although she is from Latvia, it gave me the opportunity to discuss my business and the products. She explained how she loved high quality skincare and would love a catalogue. Tomorrow, I am meeting with her with samples and also to talk about the business. This may have not happened if I was just a punter buying a piece of ribeye who randomly told her about our RE9. So you can see he's done the groundwork there. He's been speaking to her for months, and now he's going around with samples. It's so easily done. It's so simple, but it's just about getting the confidence, I think. Okay, so his third tip is to widen your network, and this is done in so many ways. If you're a parent, take your child to a new play group. If you go to get your hair done regularly, cheat on your hairdresser and go to a new hairdresser and start chatting to them. Go and get your nails done. New friends, new job, join a new gym, get a new hobby, go to a new library. Anything. There's anything that you can do. And if you aren't around a new network, then change the circles that you mix in to create that new network. All of these things he says here, and he's given a list of things that you can do. PT, new nail technician, new friends. He says all of these will expose you to new people, and you can begin to talk to them and introduce them to your chart. Okay, so number 4 is expand your selection of self-development books. Read books about widening your network of friends, how to talk to strangers, how to build relationships, listen to experts educating you on how to improve your confidence. So he gives some examples of some books. So one is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And he's given his favourite top tip from this book, and it is you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. So Danny Wells is reading this book at the moment. She's just put it up on screen. So I'm going to read that quote again because it really resonated with me, and I've got it written down now everywhere. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. So it's all about other people, which is the ethos of this business. This business is all about us helping other people. It's not about us. It's about them. It's about giving them the opportunity to improve their lives in a million different ways. Okay, so another one, How to Talk to Anyone, 62 Little Tricks for Big Success in Relationships by Leo Lounders. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his surname, sorry. So he's given a few of the books, but I'll post them. Okay, so number 5, his 5th top tip is to master your story. So practice your 60-second story. So if people ask you what you do, if you feel nervous or slightly embarrassed, then people will pick up on it. And he says here, Andy says, I remember in the early days not having a clue how to introduce Arbon into a conversation when asked about what I did. I felt like people would instantly judge me if I tried to describe the products. So tell them with pride that you are building your own business as in a massive expanding sector, but leave it at that, leave them intrigued. So don't go into full detail. Your 60-second story should be short, and at the end of your 60-second story should be 2 sentences about Arbon, and that is it. Don't go into detail about it being a network marketing company, what network marketing is. Don't go into detail about that. Leave the intrigue there, leave it lingering, and let them think about the mystery of it. Number 6 is improve your product knowledge. It says you will carry much more weight with people if you speak confidently and accurately about the products that you are representing. And I cannot stress that enough. When people ask me about certain products like the FC5 range, you should be able to list off the 5 key fruits and vegetables in that: carrot, pumpkin, kiwi, strawberry and mango. You should be able to list this off. You should be able to list the 9 working ingredients in the RE9 range, and you should be able to know all these things. Spend time researching the products. I've got 2 new independent consultants at the moment, and they started their business this month, and all they are doing this month is learning about the products. It's so important. Okay, so he says as well, you not only will your network be far more likely to trust your recommendations if you know what you're talking about, but they in turn will refer you to their networks because they trust that you will select the right products for their friends. So again, it's opening up you to other networks. If you can be a confident health and wellness consultant and you're trustworthy with your knowledge, then they will recommend you. It all comes down to network marketing. If you recommend people that are good. So number 7, his 7th top tip: become a ridiculously positive person. Positivity attracts positivity. Don't let anything get you down, or always look for the positive in every single situation. If you act negatively, do you imagine that anyone will want to join your business or even buy a product from you if you're moaning? No matter what the adversity, you will not become successful unless you learn to overcome the adversity. Okay, so he goes on to say that he would wish to finish with a story. It's his story. I'm not going to take that away from him. But anyone that wants the script, I can forward it on to you, and it is a good story. So that's it. That's Andy's training, and it's incredible, and it's so resonated with me. So from that, I have taken his training on board. I'll read the story out. Okay, I've been told to read the story out. Okay, I'll read the story out. Okay, Jerry was the kind of guy who you love to hate. He was always in a good mood and always had something positive to say. When someone would ask him how he was doing, he would reply, "If I were any better, I would be twins." So he was a unique manager because he had several waiters who had followed him around from restaurant to restaurant. The reason the waiters followed Jerry was because of his attitude. He was a natural motivator. If an employee was having a bad day, Jerry was there telling the employee how to look on the positive side of the situation. Seeing this style really made me curious. So one day I went up to Jerry and asked him, "I don't get it. You can't be a positive person all of the time. How do you do it?" And Jerry replied, "Each morning I wake up and say to myself, Jerry, you have two choices today. You can choose to be in a good mood or you can choose to be in a bad mood. I choose to be in a good mood each time. And each time something bad happens, I can choose to be a victim or I can choose to learn from it. I choose to learn from it. Every time someone comes up to me complaining, I can choose to accept their complaining or I can point out the positive side of life. I choose the positive side of life." And he said, "Yeah, right, that's not easy," I protested. "Yes, it is," Jerry said. "Life is all about choices. When you cut away all the junk, every situation is a choice. You choose how to react to situations. You choose how people will affect your mood. You choose to be in a good mood or you choose to be in a bad mood. The bottom line is, it's your choice how you live your life." I reflected on what Jerry said. Soon thereafter, I left the restaurant industry to start my own business. We lost touch, but I often thought about him when I made a choice about life instead of reacting to it. So several years later, I heard that Jerry did something you are never supposed to do in a restaurant business. He left the back door open one morning and was held up at gunpoint by 3 armed robbers. While trying to open the safe, his hand, shaking from nervousness, slipped off the combination. The robbers panicked and shot him. Luckily, Jerry was found relatively quickly and rushed into the local trauma centre. After 18 hours of surgery and weeks of intensive care, Jerry was released from the hospital with fragments of the bullet still in his body. I saw Jerry about 6 months after the accident. When I asked him how he was, he replied, "If I were any better, I'd be twins. You want to see my scars?" I declined to see his wounds, but I did ask him what had gone on through his mind as the robbery took place. "The first thing that went through my mind was that I should have locked the back door," Jerry replied. "Then, as I lay on the floor, I remembered that I had two choices. I could choose to live, or I could choose to die, and I chose to live." "Weren't you scared? Did you lose consciousness?" I asked. Jerry continued, "The paramedics were great. They kept telling me I was going to be fine. But when they wheeled me into the emergency room and I saw the expressions on the faces of the doctors and nurses, I got really scared. In their eyes, I read, 'He's a dead man.' And I knew that I needed to take action." "What did you do?" I asked. "Well, there was a big burly nurse shouting questions at me," said Jerry. "She asked if I was allergic to anything. 'Yes,' I replied. The doctors and nurses stopped working as they waited for my reply. I took a deep breath and yelled, 'Bullets!' Over their laughter, I told them, 'I am choosing to live. Operate on me as if I am alive, not dead.'" Jerry lived thanks to the skill of his doctors, but also because of his amazing attitude. And I learned from him that every day we have the choice to live fully. Attitude, after all, is everything. Decide every day how you start your day. Decide the right way and watch your life and business flourish. And what an amazing story. It still gives me goosebumps. Such an amazing story. Okay, so I just want to finish really quickly. I won't take too much of your time. We've already gone past 9 o'clock, but just really quickly want to finish with a few things I've put into practice from Andy's training. Like I said, I read it religiously. It's really resonated with me, and I've put this all into practice. And the other day, a lady messaged on Facebook that she was starting her own business. Her house had burned down, where she jointly ran a crash with people at child minding service with people. So she'd moved house and she was opening her own one, and she asked for donations of toys. So I donated some toys. When she came to collect those toys, I just got chatting to her on the doorstep. And after about 2-minute conversation on the doorstep, I then came in to Matt, and he was like, what was she talking about? And I said, oh, we're going for a coffee next week. And he said, well, you don't know her. And I said, well, I'm going to get to know her. And he was like, well, how did you manage that? And I just chatted to her. I asked her what happened. I didn't know about her house burning down, but I do now. I know that she is level 3 qualified. She has an Ofsted report. I know all of this. I've mentioned that I'm looking for a childminder next year for my daughter. That opened the door to the conversation. We started chatting a bit. She asked me what I do. Why do you need a childminder? What do you do for a living? Of course, bam, there you go. There's my 60-second story. So we're going for coffee next week, which is going to be lovely. I'm not going to mention Arbon unless she asks me. I'm not going to mention what I do for a living. She knows that now. This is all about laying the foundations down. And she's just starting her new business. So she's in my 6-month list. And then this morning, like I said yesterday, I was talking to my partner saying I'm not actively speaking to anyone at the moment. And I really want to go for area manager qualification this month. So I need to change that around. And that's my choice. So I made the choice to wake up and say, right, well, I'm going to get a couple of new independent consultants interested in this business. So I went to a different playgroup this morning, a new playgroup. I told my friends that I wasn't going to the usual one. And I took my daughter to a new playgroup. And I spent about 40 minutes, 20 minutes with one lady, 20 minutes with another, talking to them. I have a one-to-one with one of them on Monday and a one-to-one with one of them on Wednesday. I know quite a lot about each of them. I know the points that are going to interest them about Arbon, whether it be products or business or whatever. And I'm going to take some samples and I'm going to chat away and make plans. And they are in my 2 to 4 week column. One of them is actually in my now column. So there we go. I have one person in each column from Andy's training. So thank you very much, Andy. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. Does anyone have any questions before we go? I know we've gone 10 minutes over 9 o'clock already, but does anyone have any questions before we shoot off? No one's unmuting themselves, so I'm guessing that's a no. No, okay. Okay, well, I'm going to end this call then. If you want the script, just ask me and I can email the script onto you. And yeah, thank you for listening and enjoy, and good luck, and enjoy writing your columns and putting it all into practice. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.